Welcome back.
Welcome to Umineko episode 2 again.
Umineko episode 2, episode 2. It's episode 2 of episode 2.
Yeah,
And let's just start right in.
we really should have just called it parts and not episodes.
Yeah, consider it. I mean, too late.
Yeah, it is what it is.
I've made my stylistic choice.
And now you'll lay in it.
And now it's time for me to take a serious look at how full of myself I've been acting. I forgot. I'm furniture. Furniture isn't human. So I am a being who must feel gratitude for even being treated like a human. And I am not permitted to wish for anything more. People sometimes develop affection for furniture they're used to using. But that is an emotion on the human side, and the furniture has no right to hope for such a thing. It's enough that furniture serves with simple honesty day after day. That feeling I got when talking to George-sama and Jessica-sama is the same as a forbidden drug to me. In other words, it may be an emotion I must never experience. Shannon, you've had your head in the clouds for some time now. Do you not feel well? That,
No.
that was like a nice thing to say, but with her face, I don't know if she meant it in a nice way.
Yeah. My apologies.
Natsui's words were right on the mark. Even Shannon couldn't believe that she hadn't noticed Natsui until she had called. Normally, it was essential that she focused on her cleaning at this time of day. But she'd spent all her time sighing and hardly making any progress. Oh shit, that's me. Even when there aren't any guests around, you must always be alert. Behavior like this is shameful for an Ushiromiya family servant.
Yes, ma'am. I'll take care from now on.
The head and my husband will return very soon. Have you finished cleaning the study? Have you finished cleaning the staircase?
My apologies. Not yet.
Yes, I know. So I'm sorry, I got jump scared. I was like, that's a new name. So I had Lunan do it. While you were plodding around cleaning the hallway, she finished cleaning the study and the staircase.
That's because, I wanted to clean it properly, so it took some time.
Shannon was simple and honest, so she would always carry out her tasks seriously and properly without any omissions. So she was always slow with her work. In contrast, Lunan cleverly avoided doing extra work whenever it was possible, so she could complete her jobs with a result that looked almost the same to an outsider, but in a much shorter time. In other words, she was a shrewd employee. Compared to that, it's probably fair to say that Shannon wasn't very shrewd at all, talking back to Natsui when Natsui was in a bad mood. Of course, there's nothing more Natsui couldn't stand more than a servant talking back. Her forehead creased, and she spoke sternly. And yet, her slow, admonishing style of speech was even more terrifying, and finally made Shannon realize she had said the wrong thing. Then perhaps you should aim to do a truly thorough cleaning. Shannon, I order you to clean the reception hall right now. It is an important hall where several pictures treasured by the head are displayed, and where honored guests of the Ushiromiya family are welcomed. Clean it thoroughly so that not a speck of dust remains, and so that even you are satisfied. Of course, you will finish before the day is out. Until you finish that and report to me, you will not be permitted any food or rest. Understood?
Yes, madam.
That is good. Servants should endeavor to only use those words. The next time you talk back, your punishment will be even more severe. So, with that in mind, engrave these words into your heart. I can fix her.
Yes, madam. Thank you for your guidance.
You are welcome. Behaving as though her headache was troubling her, Natsui headed off down the corridor. When she couldn't see her anymore, Shannon hung her head and sighed. Why am I having trouble speaking today?
Oh no, that's for later.
Sorry, Rena DM'd me on Discord and I was like, huh, what's going on? It jump scared me. Was that about my comment?
Oh no, it's just about this scene.
Okay. This was what happened when she had her head in the clouds. Even though I'm bad at everything I do, I should be able to at least carry out the cleaning as well as an average person can, right? It's because I can't even perform that very well that I'm crying so pathetically. But what's even more shameful is that not only have I been unable to perform a single bit of cleaning well, but just now, when Natsui was scolding me, I imagined that person appearing and rescuing me. If only George Sama were here. Would he casually step in and save me? Surely he'd show up cheerfully, intentionally acting like he didn't know what was going on, nimbly change the subject and make me forget I'd ever been rebuked by Natsuhi. I kept envisioning him, suddenly appearing from the other side of the door, or the other end of the hallway. I envisioned the kind of person that would be an appropriate partner for him in a marriage meeting, and I envisioned how unfitting I was for him. Ava clearly told me. It's been repeating over and over in my dreams.
You're still as clumsy as always, Nei-san. My lady has been in a bad mood since this morning. That just now happened because you talked too much, when you should have just hung your head in silence.
Jesus.
Kanon-kun.
Cannon was suddenly there. His footsteps were always quieter than a cat's, and he never left any trace of his presence. He probably could have stood there forever, and she still wouldn't have noticed him. The expression on Cannon's face was one of hatred. He made that expression for Shannon, who didn't know how to do it herself.
Madame and Lunon can fall into hell. That person knows where Madame checks and only cleans those areas. Her cleaning just now was like that. I know because I saw. She wasn't really cleaning. She's just the worst kind of parasite, leeching off your thorough cleaning.
God damn! God damn, Cannon!
You mustn't use such dirty words. Dirty words pollute your clean soul, Kanon-kun. So at least don't use those words in front of me. Okay?
Cannon turned away as though sulking. It was a reaction that hid his true feelings, which was very like Cannon. But I was a little happy. He was getting mad for my sake.
Cleaning the reception hall will be tough. I'll help. Thank you. But I was the one Madame ordered, so don't worry. Don't you also have your own work, Kanon-kun? It's a filthy job. My soul was polluted long ago.
Does he moonlight at the Ushiromiya personal hitman? The fuck does that mean?
That'd be pretty funny.
That would be hilarious if Canon was the Ushiromiya family hitman.
He does kind of dress like it later on.
Oh, I cannot wait. I cannot wait to what he dresses like that says that, because I'm imagining Agent 47. But that's just because I love the Hitman games.
Mm.
Cannon then hung his head and bit his lower lip.
Just hearing you say you'll help me is enough for me. If you don't go back to your own job, then you'll be punished as well. And that would make me sad.
Shannon knew Cannon's character well. Sometimes he didn't think enough about himself. If I don't refuse forcefully, he'll help me even if it means neglecting his own job. Cannon was a little sad that his goodwill had been rejected, but he realized that what he was doing would only hurt her more in the end, and he gave a single, small sigh.
Understood. Do your best, Nissan. Yes. And I am also partly to blame. You aren't at fault at all, Nissan. No. I am. So go now.
Fuck, sorry. I was taking a drink of my soft drink that has a doctorate. No free clout.
Oh. Yeah.
No free clout.
A doctorate? You mean a PhD?
Both work.
Yeah.
Cannon-kun's face showed that he still hadn't completely accepted it, but without being any more obstinate, he disappeared. Even though Cannon-kun came to give me words of comfort when I was down, even so, I was dejected again because it wasn't him. That in itself was a sin. I went far beyond any dream the likes of me could be permitted to see. I don't know my place. Shannon, who had neglected breakfast, already felt her concentration beginning to waver. But if she didn't finish up cleaning the reception hall, she wouldn't receive Natsui's permission to eat. That cruel Natsui had surely told the kitchen something to that effect. I have to respectfully receive Madame's punishment. That's right. My position in the world is furniture, and I've been intoxicated by a dream that's beyond me. Sorry, again, I got distracted seeing the painting and thinking of the riddle. I was like, is that another river? No, that looks like it could be the ocean.
Solve my riddle.
Oh, fuck, what was that tweet? It was like some sort of tweet, it was just like, solve my fucking riddle. It's just in response to it. Just like something like...
It was... Well, the version of it I saw was something that I mentioned earlier. It was a picture of... It was a shot from Twitter, and it was Badler posting about how whenever he's upset, he just goes to compress this image of Rudolph in Photoshop, and then Beato replies, "Solve my riddle."
If I remember correctly, the original version, it was just like a Twitter account that was just like Bridge Troll or something along those lines.
Yeah.
I'm also thinking of that one. It's like the Slenderman account that just comments, "Find my pages."
I love Twitter.
It's great. I finished cleaning the hallway and went to the reception hall. Maybe my hunger made my nose more sensitive. I could sense a delicious aroma wafting from the kitchen, even though it was far away, and my empty stomach was encouraged even more. Until I finished up here, I wouldn't get any soup. That's the quote-unquote delicious? Here, hold on. Soup is fucking gross.
I mean, to be fair, if you were forced to work, if you were forced to clean the whole hall, no food until you're done.
No, no, you should know I have my pride. I have built an elongated bit on my distaste for soup. I can't go back on that at all. I just had to resolve myself to doing it. Several portraits were hung up in the reception hall. One of those portraits was thought to hold a special meaning amongst the servants. It was the portrait of the witch. That wasn't its true name, but everyone in the mansion called it that. The name of the woman with elegant blonde hair drawn as the subject of that portrait was Beatrice. It was whispered that she might be the former mistress of Kinzo, the family head, and also that she was the great witch who had given Kinzo the gold of the legend. The witch, Beatrice, master of the night on Rokkenjima, she was gracious to those who respected her, but she would surely curse those who made light of her. It was in Shannon's character not to neglect rules and beliefs such as those. So she thought of the portrait of her other master as that person herself, and always treated it carefully, treasuring it. And it had become part of her daily routine to tell the witch, who only existed inside the portrait, the secrets of her heart. Imagine walking by Shannon as she talks to the portrait. What would you do? What would you do?
I don't know.
I think I'd
It's pretty lonely. I wouldn't be too surprised.
I think I'd be like, hey, you okay? Like, you good? She was furniture. Furniture doesn't complain. Cannot complain. So she had no right to speak her mind about her difficult days. She had no right to open her mouth and say those words. So, she at least spoke her mind inside her heart. Okay, so she's thinking these words. Okay. She spoke her mind inside her heart, using words she couldn't say aloud, and protested to the formless witch. Of course, the witch didn't answer. She didn't console, and she didn't laugh it off. Shannon could only interpret that silence as she liked, as though the witch was responding agreeably.
Beneficius, please listen to the story of my worthless self.
As Shannon wiped the dust from the witch's portrait, she spoke that inside her heart.
Certainly I'm incompetent and uncultured, just as Evasoma said. I'm not a person. So maybe I have no right to love. But in that case, why was I given a heart that can know love?
At that point, Shannon held back her tears for a moment. The sound of the rain, which had started falling, along with the chill air in the reception hall, made her feel as though her shabbiness had increased another level.
Real furniture doesn't have anything like a heart. So they don't have to love people, right? So they don't feel pain. I'm just another piece of furniture. Why do I have a heart? If it's going to be this painful and this harsh, I wish I was never given a heart like this.
I see. So a heart was given to furniture. It would seem that even man is capable of some quite amusing things every now and then. The witch that never answered or laughed. Answered. And laughed. Was it my imagination? Was I hearing things? No, that's wrong. After all, the next words became a voice, and I could hear them not with my heart, but with my ears.
Humans have continually searched for the elements that make up the world since before the modern era. It is said that in ancient times, the Greeks tried explaining the world with the four elements of wind. Elements. Did I say elements?
I don't
I think I
know.
said elements. Elements of wind, fire, water, and earth. And after that, over several millennia, humans added several elements to those four, trying to explain the world with several interpretations, such as the 5 elements, the 6 elements, the 7 elements, the 8 elements, and 12 elements. But they were never able to describe the one sole truth that exists, the single element. However, a single man appeared by the guidance of a star, and finally explained the single element that makes up the world. Know what it is? Oh, what? Oh.
Shannon fearfully turned around. Right there, she existed. Not as an illusion, but as a reality. The contrast made by the lightning made it clear that this was no mere daydream.
It's love.
I don't... Look, if Beatrice isn't fucking with Shannon right now, which I have my doubts that Beatrice truly believes this, if she's like telling the truth, she's fucking cooking here. If there's one thing you need to know about me, is that I fucking love the power of love and friendship. I love that shit. I love it.
You're really gonna like this visual novel then.
Hell yeah!
You're really gonna like it, and you don't even know how much.
Yes!
You don't even know how much it's gonna get to you.
I can look, I don't care how many times I see a show or movie that ends with we defeat them with the power of friendship. I don't care how many times. I eat that shit up. 'Cause I love it. The witch of the portrait elegantly held a golden pipe to her mouth and giggled. She laughed at the ignorance that causes humankind's thoughts to stray far from the most simple answer.
That man explained everything in the world with love. That is the single element.
Are they talking about Jesus?
I think so. I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Is that the oh my god. Beatrice is a Catholic?
We have reason to believe that she's presenting stuff to Shannon that she already knows.
Mm-hmm.
What with the chapel on the island,
Yeah.
and with
Which, by the way, if you don't know, there's a chapel on the island.
with the place that Shannon grew up in being called Gospel House. Like, I think it's pretty fair to assume that she was raised Catholic.
Mm-hmm. Though I love the idea of Beatrice being a Catholic. That'd be so funny.
I mean, considering how her name is pronounced, it's fair to say, like, she's kind of Italian coded. And if she's Italian, like, she's definitely grown up around Catholicism or has experience with it.
And this is a Renaissance ass dress. I can see this shit in fucking Assassin's Creed 2, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. I accidentally skipped a few, so...
Mm-hmm. That man fully explained how the world was constructed with the smallest possible number. How simple and clear, how splendid, exhilarating, plus... The year that man was finally born is called the start of the modern era.
Okay, so it is Jesus, alright. Shannon
Also,
lost.
Beato has a little fang, tiny little fang.
Yeah, I noticed that. I noticed that. Maria also,
Yes.
which that could be used as evidence to my theory that I had when I first ever read this, was that my belief is that uh Battler and Kinzo are like character foils, and Maria and Beatrice are character foils. I feel like I'm using that term wrong.
Parallels, or
Parallels, yes.
what
I
makes you
believe
think that Battler and Kinzo um are are parallels to each other?
I think that way because of sort of their relationship to the supernatural.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know. I don't. It's said at some point that Kinzo also doesn't have the wavelength to like see magic.
But he's stubborn enough to believe
Yeah,
in it and pursue it anyways.
yeah. I feel like I feel like how it's structured, how because I know how story structure works. I think Battler is being set up as a parallel to Kinzo, and Maria, the witchy girl who knows magic, is being set up as a parallel to Beatrice,
Excellent.
and it's going to be a whole, I don't know, breaking generational roles or something. I don't know. That's my belief. Like I believe that as somehow Battler is going to become the head of the family, or at least like he's like he's like the spiritual head, you know, like it may
Mhm.
like he's the head in the sense of like the story,
Mm.
because like he's the protagonist, and Kinzo's big protagonist energy too. Like he seems like a retired protagonist. That's just my thoughts. I just think those two I just think they're parallels. That's my thoughts. Anyway,
Mhm.
Shannon lost any words to speak. She thought that when first meeting an unknown guest, her first words should be to ask that person's name. But without saying anything, Shannon knew this person's name, so she refrained. No, surely it would be the greatest disrespect for someone who had lived or worked on this island to ask this woman her name. After all, she was the other master of this island besides Kinzo.
Hey, Toichi-sama. Indeed.
Ooh, we got a lore drop.
After this, I'm gonna put my clothes in the dryer.
Alright. Oh wait, no, we already read this.
Okay, well, just pause it.
Alright, we're back.
Indeed. I am Beatrice. Even after 1,000 years, I see that people still give me that look when we first meet.
The witch giggled at how Shannon's reaction didn't betray her expectations. Shannon realized that she had met with a being that mustn't be met with, and she took a step backwards. That's where the wall and the portrait were, so even as she gazed at the witch's portrait was touching her back.
The source of your troubles is love. Love, the single element that makes up this world. In other words, it is everything in this world. When it is lacking, then your world is lacking too. It is no different than scooping water into a canteen with a hole in it. Even if you scoop and scoop, eternal desert of the heart never fills. It is the original sin that humans are founded upon and everything is made of. Understand? When Adam and Eve put the fruit of knowledge to their lips, love is what they learned of. Because of that, humans were chased out of the garden and became fully human. Which means that knowing love and suffering is what makes one human. You kind-hearted child, you ought to be praised. Now that you have gained this knowledge, you are no longer furniture. You are now human. I recognize that with all the authority of my name. Oh, is it hard for a common person to understand? Very well, then. Forgive me. It's been a long time since I've spoken with a human. Allow me to apologize for my talkativeness.
Without waiting for a reply from Shannon, Beatrice laughed pleasantly for a while.
Perhaps this isn't much by way of an apology, but I would be willing to grant that wish of yours with my power if you so desire. Huh?
The meaning of those words surprised Shannon even more than the witch's sudden appearance.
I'm offering to bring you and the one you love together. Normally, I would demand something of equal value in return. However, a good mood, and you have never failed to pay your respects to me in the past. That is something worth rewarding. Is that true?
Normally, Shannon would have been shocked and struck dumb by this seemingly impossible guest. However, almost as though she was already under the witch's spell, Shannon responded.
With my magic, it would be no trouble at all to arrange for you to be joined with the one you love.
Yes, of course.
Yes. Oh.
Shannon almost said without thinking, but held back with her last bit of common sense.
Shut up. Shut up.
After all, this is a witch. A sinister being. The witch Beatrice is clearly trying to slip in through the cracks in my heart and take me prisoner. That sort of temptation, which so many fairy tale picture books warned me about when I was young, is right in front of me now.
Fear is also a form of respect. It may be pleasant for me, but we will make no progress this way. I may not differ much from the image of a detestable witch that you hold in your mind. However, I do bestow my favor upon those who respect me. Aren't humans the same? Well, I doubt any human would bestow a favor upon one with such a hostile attitude. My apologies. I didn't mean...
Shannon eventually realized how rude she was acting towards this guest. And she finally digested the words that had been spoken to her a short while ago. You are no longer furniture. Now you are human. As she reflected upon those words, Shannon felt as though the witch understood all her worries.
What was that, just now about a reward?
$20. Sick!
I say that I can arrange for you to be joined with the man who has captured your heart. Think of it as a sign of my gratitude for your diligence in polishing my portrait, day after day. Calm yourself. I ask for nothing in return. I'm generous. However, though I ask for nothing in return, I do have a request.
Which you can say is something I'm asking in return. Look, here it comes. Part of Shannon's heart sent her a warning. This is what all those scary picture books she'd read when she was little had warned her about.
Do you know the small torii and shrine that have been constructed on the ocean, very near this island, which you can see when you gaze at the cliffs?
Shannon immediately remembered it. When you reached Rokkenjima by boat, there was a torii and a shrine on a reef that was too small to be even called an islet. Or islet, whatever. I'm pretty sure Kumasawa-san told me its history, but I can't remember it well. A traveling shugenja? Sure, a kind of holy man. Had built it or prayed there or something.
I think you said it right.
Close enough, at least.
Yes, I know about it. But Why do you bring it up? I will not explain everything, including the very basics to one ignorant of demons. Simply put, it's causing me trouble. The truth is, there's a mirror kept inside that shrine. I want you to break it.
It was quite a suspicious request. Shannon didn't know the details, but anything stored inside a shrine would have to be something sacred. And she wants me to break it? Why would a witch ask a human for help instead of doing it herself? There was no need for Shannon to speak her thoughts aloud. Beatrice responded to Shannon's reasonable doubt before Shannon could give her answer.
The magical power of that mirror opposes my own.
I wish, instead of going on, Beatrice would just respond, "Now you must be wondering why I would be asking this of a human."
I cannot explain it well with human words. For example, let us speak of the differences between utensils. That mirror is a fork, and my power is soup.
Oh, so your power doesn't mean shit? Just saying.
You cannot drink soup with a fork, correct? If only the resistance of that mirror were gone, I could produce a spoon ideal for drinking soup. After that, I could drink soup as I pleased and even dig my way out of a rocky prison. I could even gouge someone's eye out with it. Was that not the phrase?
Yeah, the other witch said this.
Ferncastle.
Yes, her. Thanks, Beatrice. You said that in your Beatrice voice.
I mostly use my regular voice for her, except a lot more expressive.
Yeah.
Because I have a bit of a flat affect. I don't know what you're talking about. If my poor education is to blame, I apologize. It comes down to this. If you take action and break that annoying mirror for me, I shall grant your wish as a reward. I'm in quite a good mood today. You may even change your wish and receive all the gold I bestowed upon Kinzo, if you so desire.
She should do that.
Yeah. I refuse. What?
When she heard Shannon's words, Beatrice realized for the first time that her expectations had been betrayed.
If you have a reason, tell me. If there has been some misunderstanding, I shall resolve it. I don't really understand the reason. But up until now, this island had been at peace. Nothing bad has happened. So, even if I don't break the mirror, the peace that has existed until today should continue until the future. Yes, you're quite right. It's just as you say. If you don't break the mirror, the same unbreakable days that have passed until now will continue into tomorrow and the next day. Why don't I give you an absolute guarantee? I shall stake my name, Beatrice, on it. The unbreakable days before this time will continue into tomorrow and the next day. And for eternity and perpetuity.
Shannon felt overwhelmed by an eerie illusion. The mirror probably existed for the purpose of restraining the witch. So if Shannon broke it, the person who stood to gain was supposedly the witch herself. And yet, Shannon felt somehow that she had to do it for her own sake. It felt like some premise had been switched around.
I will do nothing but grant you a chance to bring your feelings to fruition. It's up to you to decide whether you'll break it or not. If you break it, I shall grant your wish. If you don't, the tomorrows that came before today will continue for all eternity. Your wish will not be granted for all time. Do you understand? Do you see what I mean?
The witch was speaking. She was pressing Shannon, saying she must break the mirror if she ever wanted to be united with George. It was a declaration that Shannon's feelings would never be brought to fruition unless she broke it.
Please, stop it. I don't want to hear something like that. It was never my goal to cause you pain. Oh well. When love leads to madness, that is when we see the true charm of humanity. Enjoy that emotion to your heart's content. However, if you wish to borrow my power, feel free to break that mirror at any time. And then you may yell my name and awaken me. I will certainly keep my promise. This way, you should have no complaints, right? I won't force you to decide right now. Easy, is it not?
Was it really such an easy thing to do? No, it certainly wasn't. To Shannon, who was burning with infatuation and worried by love, being tempted constantly and eternally with a way out was truly a cruel trial.
I won't set a time limit on that promise. But there is a time limit on the magic that can grant your wish. That limit is not of my making. The one you love will decide it himself. You see my meaning? No, I don't understand. When the one you care for finds the partner to whom he ought to pledge his love, that limit will be reached. I may be a witch, but I'm no demon. I possess no magic to tear apart a pair of those who love each other.
I doubt that.
The one you love will soon be attending a marriage meeting, yes? You may have stronger feelings for that man than anyone else in the world. However, that doesn't mean you're the most suitable partner for him, does it? I know with whom he will be having his marriage meeting. That girl is the most suitable for Ushiromiya George in the entire world. She came from a good school, achieved good grades, and possesses both composure and thoughtfulness. She's more beautiful than you, wiser than you, more suitable than you. How could an ignorant, incompetent, uncultured girl like you be suitable? You know better than anyone. There are none less suitable than you. Even imagining that you and Ushiromiya George could be joined is sinful and foolish, foolish, foolish. Know your place. Have you forgot to be grateful for your education? Know your place.
George is the eldest grandson carrying father's blood. He's a person who may bear the burden of the Ushiromiya family someday in the future. To answer to that expectation, he has studied tirelessly and entered a wonderful college and is getting wonderful grades. Did you really think you could snatch George away, you uneducated, incompetent, unqualified, uncultured servant?
Stop it. Don't bully Shannon. Who the hell are you?
At that time, as Shannon held her head, trying to protect her heart from the blade of Beatrice's words, Cannon ran in front of her. Cannon didn't care who this woman was. If this was an enemy tormenting Shannon, whom he'd loved and respected as a sister, nothing else mattered.
Shannon-kun, stay back. This person is...
This person is a fucking cunt is who she is. It's just like, instantly turns around and starts hardcore antagonizing Beatrice. God, that
Yeah, I
is...
wouldn't put it past him.
It seemed that Cannon also realized that the being standing before him was the witch of the portrait, and also that she was something to be feared.
I simply wish to give Shannon a chance to claim her reward, but it seems I said too much and ended up hurting her. I must apologize for that. But I shall leave behind that promise as a reward to you. If you need my power, call me at any time. I have already told you how. Well then, let us call it a night. Hostile gazes may be pleasant, but they damage your beauty, yes? Disappear. I don't know who you are, but you're threatening Shannon. Don't ever show yourself again.
King. Cannon's words seemed to deeply annoy the witch.
Watch your language, lowborn. I may be gracious to those who respect me, but I'm brutal to those who do not.
While she still smiled, the witch's face began to twist itself. Then, an oppressive feeling that couldn't be noticed with any of the five senses gradually filled the room. Even though they couldn't understand it, they immediately realized it was something terrifying. When you swim in the ocean and something large passes by in the water beneath you, you want to escape to land even before you learn what it is. That's exactly what this was like.
Please stop, Beatrice-sama. Hanan-kun is still a child. I apologize for his language.
Cannon placed his body between the witch and Shannon. There was tense sweat on his forehead. At that time, the witch certainly held Cannon's fate in the palm of her hand. She didn't even need to lift a finger. She held a grasp on his fate so tight that a single twist of her smile could easily crush it. Cannon understood that as well. So he started sweating. His knees felt weak. However,
Arms are sweaty. Mom's spaghetti.
Beatrice abruptly released that feeling of tension and laughed.
Very well. If you ask, I will forgive you just this once. Canon, is it? In deference to her, I shall forgive you tonight and send you off. You ought to thank me. Well then, let us call it a night. In parting, I shall leave you with a small souvenir.
It's a gun? What?
Hold out the palm of your left hand, you two.
When Beatrice grinned broadly and snapped her fingers, their left hands stretched out in front of them against their will, and their palms opened. It was a strange sensation, as though only their left hands now belonged to someone else. It felt like only their left hands had become puppets, which were being pulled by strings hanging down from the ceiling.
What are you trying to do?
Cannon resisted, but he couldn't retract his hand of his own free will.
Don't struggle. It will be over soon.
When Beatrice held her pipe aloft, a gold-colored sparkling dust came out of the smoke and hovered in the air. That sparkle eventually became several gold butterflies. The beautiful butterflies danced freely throughout the reception hall, forming a fantastical and beautiful world. And two of those butterflies alighted on the palms of Shannon's and Cannon's hands.
Ouch.
There was a sharp pain, as though they had been burned, when the two of them tried to examine their palms that hold on their bodies, which had been there a second ago, had gone without a trace.
A mark? What is...
It says pen 15. Damn it! They got me! There is now a tiny burn mark on the palm of her hand, and it was shaped like a butterfly.
What is this supposed to be?
Apparently, Cannon had the same mark on his hand. He stared at the witch hatefully,
Simple greeting. I have no hidden motive. It is nothing more than a bruise, so will heal in just a few days. There's not even any need to care for it. I made that mark so that tomorrow you will not forget that I truly was here, and that I made a promise with you. An encounter with me can be quite shocking. Sometimes, when the next morning comes, people try to think of such an encounter as a dream or a delusion. You ought to consider this slowly and carefully, Shannon. You should probably take a good rest. Look at my mark tomorrow morning and try considering it again. I shall not coerce you in any way. You should freely decide your future by your own will. Still, to think that one could obtain the object of their desire for such a small price. Surely this would annoy to no end the greatest artists who write plays about blighted love. Well then, let us meet again when the chance arises. How entertaining it is to have a conversation again after so much time. Goodbye, furniture.
Cannon just turns to Shannon. Well, she was a bitch.
He totally would do that.
Yeah. Beatrice's
Slash do that.
Battler and Cannon wearing matching shirts that say Beatrice Hate Club.
Yeah.
Beatrice's body crumbled like smoke and blew away. It was golden smoke. No, a cloud of gold butterflies. They scattered in all directions inside the reception hall, leaving a golden splash before disappearing into thin air. After that, only the cold silence was left. It was so silent, it made both of them think they might have been daydreaming until just a moment ago. Which was why the witch had left those marks. She had done so to make it impossible for them to think of this as a daydream. As Shannon and Cannon remembered the butterfly bruises on their hands and the pain they felt when they'd been made, they kept standing still, stunned. From that moment on, Shannon was tormented by days of suffering and conflict. Alright, what's happening next? What? What do you mean separate rooms? So wait, you and George and Nissan stayed in different rooms on purpose?
Yes. Is it really so strange? Don't her parents sleep in separate rooms?
She's already
checking.
disillusioned with their marriage. Jessica's cheeks had been stuffed with a chocolate-coated chinsuko biscuit that Shannon had brought as a present from Okinawa. And it all came flying out at Shannon when Jessica cried out. Shannon, why did you even go on a trip to Okinawa? You were even alone with George Nissan.
Well, he said there was a huge aquarium in Okinawa and invited me to go. And I like fish and stuff.
No, that's not the point. We're talking about a healthy guy and girl going on an overnight trip, right? And you're saying there weren't even any hugs and kisses? And seriously, what's up with the guy and girl staying in different rooms?
And as for kisses, no comments. But we did hug. George-san's chest was warm.
That's not the point. Jeez, why do couples like this exist? Beans, jeez. I can't take it anymore. From Shannon's point of view, it was an incredibly happy trip for various reasons. But it looked like Jessica found their pace to be pretty irritating. I want to hear that you fucked my cousin. Like, what the fuck, Jessica? For a while, Jessica chewed her present, complaining about romance and pretending to faint in agony on her bed.
She's so silly.
Shannon and George had chosen to go to Okinawa because there was a huge aquarium there. They did this because an aquarium had given them the opportunity to start going out. Since their relationship had started at an aquarium, having their first overnight trip also be to an aquarium must have held some commemorative value. That's like a huge commemorative turning point. And your first overnight trip! How could you not make all kinds of progress there? But instead, you both got separate rooms? A couple taking 2 single rooms? Seriously, what's wrong with you?
But we are both unmarried. George-san says showing restraint is good manners for a couple.
George is Catholic, got it. Like I said, the whole point of this overnight trip was so you could overcome that stage, right? You should be way beyond just kissing and hugging by now.
Milady, I don't know what you mean by that, but George-sama was a real gentleman with me until the end. That is, I mean, I also wondered if those things would happen, you know? But even though we are going out, I mean, it's not like we're married or anything. These things you seem to be expecting, should only be done after making a vow to God. And oh,
she's not making a good case that she that she wants to wait till after marriage.
what are you trying to say?
I'm saying she was hoping to fuck. 100%. Do you see this argument? No way in hell is this someone who wants to wait till marriage.
Yeah, I have a counter argument. It's George.
Yeah, George probably wants to wait till marriage. Shannon, though? I don't think Shannon would want to wait till marriage.
No. What I mean is, Shannon may like George. She may love him. But would she really want to fuck him? Like, I don't know. I don't... Like, this is the kind of guy that one would date and just see as, like, just a nice... Like, just a guy, you know? Like, he's not very fuckable. I'm gonna be honest. Like,
yeah, with his stolen valor dog tags. Fuck. Oh, Shannon's face got bright red. She made a circle with both hands, restlessly intertwining, separating and making heart marks with them. Apparently, the dramatic progress Jessica had looked forward to hadn't happened, but it seemed to have been a very important experience for Shannon in her own way. In the end, whether Jessica was jealous of Shannon or made fun of her, it didn't change the fact that Shannon had a huge lead on her. I want a boyfriend too! I can't believe you got ahead of me. Even though we promised that we'd find boyfriends at the same time, you beat me. Ah!
You're a wonderful person, my lady. So I'm sure you'll find someone wonderful much quicker than...
Don't try to console me. Shannon, you traitor, get out. Shut up! Oh god. Oh my god. So I'm a bit behind on editing. And I just edited the episode where Jessica had her first asthma attack, And I wasn't really paying attention. I was playing Legend of Zelda on my Switch while editing, and then I heard myself start fucking coughing, and I was like, "Oh my god, am I okay?" I was fucking dying. I was just, oh my god, I completely forgot about this.
You're so good at coughing.
Jessica threw several cushions at her, but midway she had an asthma attack and she started to choke pretty badly. Shannon hurriedly ran over to a nearby side table and started searching around on top of it. A cute basket was placed there, and inside of it was Jessica's bronchodilator. Shannon picked it up and handed it over to Jessica. Jessica's asthma attacks always came suddenly. Because of that, she always needed to carry this medicine around. She breathed in the medicine and, after a while, managed to overcome her choking as her asthma finally settled down. Shannon thought this was a good chance to leave and tried to exit the room after bowing courteously. As she did, one more small cushion came flying and hit Shannon on the head. She noticed that Jessica was on the verge of crying, half of her face buried in her last and favorite cushion. That face was red and meek.
Milady?
Oh my god, wanna know what that reminded me of?
Hmm?
You saying milady remind me of earlier today, I went grocery shopping, and a guy came up to me and said, "I like your hair. My hair is still dyed blue," for those who don't know. And then tipped his fucking snapback at me.
His what?
His, like, fucking baseball cap. It was... I said thanks, and he fucking tipped his baseball cap at me. What the fuck?
That's so based. It's incredible.
Shannon, be honest with me. Is my hairdo and stuff weird?
What are you saying? I think your hair is very beautiful.
Then are my eyes strange? Or maybe my nose? I hate reading girl problems written by a man. You know?
Yeah, but I do think that he writes women fairly well.
Yeah.
Like very well, a lot better than than even some women, honestly.
Yeah. How for those who don't
J.K.
know,
Rowling.
yeah. How I consume my media is a lot of times I read the description, think, that sounds fucking wild, and then click on it. Like, that's how I read a lot of stuff, and that's how I've been reading a lot of manga, even. And let me tell you, that method of, choosing what to read gets you some fucking weird shit that isn't great. Yeah. And also lets you see how men think women view their insecurities. And it's awful. It sucks.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. Well, this feels a little bit realistic to me.
Yeah. Or is it the way I talk after all? Is that why I can't get a boyfriend?
Of course not. My lady, you are wonderful enough as you are. And I think your charm will keep on increasing more and more from now on.
But I'm the only one who can't find a boyfriend. Saku and Hina managed to get boyfriends, but only I can't. Is it because I don't have any charm after all? You know, everyone says they'll bring their boyfriends to the cultural festival. And I was so sure I'd have a boyfriend before then, so I started bragging. There's no way I'll get a boyfriend. I'm the only one. Before she realized it, Jessica was shedding huge tears. Jessica didn't really feel like crying, and of course, she felt like supporting Shannon's progress in love as a friend. However, as she had cheered Shannon on, her true feelings had suddenly gotten mixed in, and she couldn't help but shed tears. Shannon understood Jessica's innocent and easily injured heart. The rough style of speech Jessica usually used was all just an attempt to protect that fragile heart. As a daughter and successor to the Ushiromiya family, and as a girl isolated in Rokkenjima, the only person she could expose her true feelings to was Shannon. Shannon understood that. So, she strongly regretted acting smug, even if it was only a little. Sorry. I'm so weird crying like this. Sorry.
You are a wonderful person, my lady. But there's no way you won't find a wonderful man.
Shannon, it's about time, right? If you don't go quickly, Genji-san and Mom will get mad. I'm just fine, so hurry up. Sorry for crying like this. I'm such a moron. Sorry, I looked over at my phone the moment Toby texted the group chat that we're in together. Like, you, me, Toby, and Danny are in. And all I saw was, be ready. And I got really scared, because those are how some of the texts he sent when he's on his way to my house.
Oh no.
I was just like,
Don't
look.
worry, he's not on his way.
Yeah, I looked over and I had a fucking heart attack. I was like, huh, what do you mean? Jessica faced away, acting as though she didn't really want to trouble Shannon, waving her hand as though chasing Shannon away. Shannon took that as a sign that Jessica didn't want to be bothered anymore, bowed her head, and left the room. When Shannon's footsteps disappeared into the distance, Jessica lay down on her bed, still hugging a cushion. Her expression was still a little meek, with tears in her eyes. But the first time in a long time, she had a very, very quiet and honest conversation with her heart. I also want to fall in love. As Shannon happily watered the flower beds in the garden, she sensed someone's presence. She turned around, thinking that if one of the family had come to visit, she must greet them. But what she saw was that witch.
Meifishi-sama. It's been quite some time. How are you? How's your relationship with the one you love progressed since we last met?
As Beatrice sat on the rose arch, she happily blew on her pipe. Sitting in a place like that would crush the roses, and it might have been dangerous if the arch fell over. But this was a witch after all. Showing concern for her safety was probably a waste of time.
Yes. Thanks to you, it's going smoothly. Naturally, the effects of my magic are immediate. Perhaps you feel your meeting was a predetermined fate. However, that is a mistake. Don't even think fate has anything to do with it. I understand that.
Do you think Beatrice actually used any magic to get Shannon and George together? Or is she manipulating the situation?
That's a great question.
Because I think Beatrice is just manipulating the situation. Granted, I'm not 100% sure of the rules of magic in this world. But from what I know, I don't think getting two people together is possible. Like, we haven't seen much magic, but it doesn't seem possible within the realm of magic that we've been given, you know? That might make no fucking sense. I understand if it doesn't. It's hard. I don't know how exactly to put it into words. but I don't think Beatrice actually did anything. I think she saw a situation and manipulated Shannon into breaking the mirror, which was holding her back. Like, I do think the mirror was holding back her power, but I don't think she actually used her power to get Shannon and George together. Because she loves hammering in on how, oh yeah, this was not going to happen. Definitely not. It's all because of me. You should be thanking me. You should honestly bow down, you know? Is what I'm saying making sense? Am I saying am I saying something crazy?
Oh, it's absolutely making sense, yeah.
Okay, cool. The witch was calling attention to something. Two things, actually. First, that Shannon's relationship with George was a fate that'd be absolutely impossible under normal circumstances. Second, that the power of the witch was great enough to overturn that fact. Shannon had just gotten wrapped up in those sweet days, and had started believing the illusion that all fate revolved around her. But she remembered the witch's words. Originally, her relationship with George had been impossible. No, it might be impossible in the future as well.
Sorry, please forgive me. It's just like doctors. You cling to them when you're worried about your health, but after you're healed, you forget to even thank them. I have never been thanked as a witch, so I couldn't help acting a little rudely. Forgive me. The gratitude I feel has never slipped my mind. It's thanks to your power that I was able to achieve happiness, Beatrice-sama. And without that power, the fate that brought me and George-sama together would never have happened. I've never forgotten that. Sorry. It's not like I came here to bully you. Being rude is just part of my personality. Do forgive me. More importantly, I heard. So you went on a trip alone with him. I imagined that it must have been quite fun.
He fades to black and fades back. They're still talking, and Beatrice is like, "You didn't get past you slept in separate rooms?" Like the same conversation.
Yes. It was very, fun.
Shannon's face suddenly lit up. Sorry, I started yawning. Shannon's face suddenly lit up. The witch laughed lightly, as though amused by the speed of that transformation.
Already, the one you care for is more than the object of one-sided love. You are a pair of lovers now. When two people are filled with love, nothing else is needed to establish a complete world. Perhaps you could call that a wonderful, ideal world. Even witches would be jealous.
Beatrice laughed pleasantly. That smile made her look as though she'd blessed the lovers' rendezvous from the bottom of her heart, without a trace of malice. After that day, Beatrice had shown herself before Shannon every once in a while. Even now, Shannon thought of her as an unsettling being. However, she was also indebted to this person for the magic that led to her current relationship with George. So Shannon tried with all her might not to act surprised or scared.
That's right. Beatrice-sama, I bought some sweets as a souvenir from our trip. Would you, like to try some too? Oh, a souvenir for a witch?
It seemed that even a witch who boasted of living for 1,000 years hadn't imagined that she would receive a souvenir from a sweet lover's trip. When she saw that surprised expression, Shannon thought of this witch as a friend for the first time.
An Eastern cookie made from wheat flour and lard. To wrap that in Western chocolate is truly a blending of the Japanese and Western styles. The Silk Road of sweets. What? What's so funny?
I like that sprite.
What about it?
I just like it.
Mm. Nothing. My apologies.
This witch, who surely held a terrifying power, was chomping down on sweets one after another, making a sound like a squirrel stuffing walnuts into its mouth.
What's that sound?
I don't have a sound. I was considering clicking a sound on my sound, but I don't have a soundboard sound that would make that funny. So you'll just have to imagine. After a while, Shannon couldn't conceal her laughter.
Good meal. I should serve you some dolce vita from Nero one of these days.
Nero? Devil May Cry reference? When the devils cry?
Holy shit.
Oh my god.
You figured it out. You figured it out.
Figured it out!
Whoa. Whoa. Roses are the symbol of eternal love. I believe a rose dolce would be appropriate for you now.
Oh my god, I just saw the fucking thing that Toby said be ready in response to. He sent a post that said meat reveal in 20 minutes.
I guess we're all revealing our meat in 20 minutes.
Oh god.
Whenever it was sent.
When was it sent? Oh fuck. Oh shit, there's less than 10 minutes. Oh fuck.
Better find some meat to reveal.
Just beautiful filet mignon. The witch was in a great mood, fully enjoying modern candy.
Here. I truly am grateful. I believe you've done more than enough for me already, so I'm returning this.
The thing Shannon had softly set on the table was a gold-colored butterfly brooch.
It's brooch.
Fuck! What did I miss? No, it says brooch.
It's brooch. It's actually pronounced brooch.
Well, I don't care. It looks like it says brooch, and I'm saying brooch because that's funnier.
It's funny. There's no need to return it. If you continue holding that, your relationship should remain firm in perpetuity.
Should.
I'm being thrown off by a text my mom sent me.
What
So my past name is Fore. F-O-R-E.
Yeah.
She messaged me, Gore is outside.
Gore? Oh god. Al?
There's Gore outside. Oh, Gore is outside. Please let him in soon.
I like how you went to horror movie content, but I went to former presidential candidate Al Gore.
Well, we've never heard a prime minister named with the last name Gore, so.
I still think it's funny that American presidential candidate Al Gore is outside your door.
Yeah, that's definitely funnier. Maybe it was the power of magic that brought us together. But I think only the two of us working together can turn that into something that lasts forever. Love and roses are the same. Too much fertilizer causes the roots to rot. Some flowers cannot be raised without hard work. In that case, do as you wish. You may wear it or keep it in a box. That is my goodwill, given to you. Having you return it to me won't please me at all. My apologies. That's not what I... No harm has been done. That brooch is already yours. If you treasure that proof of our friendship, it would indeed bring me some comfort. You may hold on to it and gain its benefits. Or you may keep it in a box. If you wish, you may even give it to another who is worrying about love. Or you could simply treasure it. Of course, it would pain my heart if you wasted it.
According to Beatrice, she had appeared several times in the past in response to a person's summons that gives them some tool imbued with a magical power. However, when most people used that power to resolve their worries, they quickly grew unsettled by it, forgot their former gratitude, and threw away the tools they had been given with disgust.
So, it is quite rare for me to be thanked for my goodwill. In fact, this might even be the first time.
The witch laughed heartily, but it looked like a sad laugh in Shannon's eyes. She herself had been like that in the past. No, maybe she was still like that now. Beatrice was definitely a witch, with a strange and terrifying power. Most people probably wouldn't want to stick around her if they could help it. Surely, even those who had relied on that strange power sometimes felt fear rather than gratitude as a result. It must have deeply hurt the witch to have that happen over and over. Since the time she had started thinking that way, Shannon had tried to stop being frightened of Beatrice. This was truly something that had tormented the witch for over 1,000 years. Maybe she really liked those sweets. Beatrice, who normally spoke abusively, praised the black tea that Shannon served her and looked to be in remarkably high spirits. After doing that for a while, the witch and the servant grew animated in their discussion of the trip with George. The things Shannon actually knew about Beatrice were surprisingly few. First off, she was a ghost-like being who appeared in unexpected places at unexpected times. And it seemed that not everyone could perceive that she was there. Apparently, everyone has something called a wavelength, and the ability to perceive witches varies greatly among different people. Only Shannon and Cannon could interact with her enough to exchange words like this. There were a few people who could sense her presence, but most people couldn't even feel that much. From what Beatrice said, Kraus and his wife in particular had zero magical talent, and no matter how much she followed them around, they would never notice her. Once earlier, when Shannon messed up and Natsui got really mad at her, Beatrice had started playing around, hitting Natsui on the head with her pipe. I see. Natsui really doesn't notice a thing. But Shannon, watching that, had burst out laughing without thinking, and had gotten scolded even more.
And what about the master? I hear he's been doing research in magic, so I'm sure he'll be able to notice you, Beatrice-sama. Kinzo is the same. He also has a pitiful lack of magical talent. It's the blood. He has so little talent that I pity him.
As soon as they started talking about Kinzo, it felt like the atmosphere around Beatrice changed. She had spoken about Kraus and the rest's lack of magic talent as though she had looked down on them. But she spoke of Kinzo in a different way. Anyone connected to the Usuromiya family would know about Kinzo's legend of the gold. According to that, Kinzo was given the gold after summoning the witch Beatrice. In other words, she must have some kind of relationship with Kinzo.
That was because he succeeded despite having not even a scrap of talent. He kept studying by himself like mad and managed to become a magician. And that's something really incredible, right? Indeed.
The witch, who usually looked down on people, was uncharacteristically offering her praise. While she lambasted him by saying he had no talent, she praised his efforts.
And then the master summoned Beatrice-sama with the power of magic. Indeed. Well, I only answered the summons on a whim. After all, in this period where magic has long been denied, here was a man who was without a scrap of talent, yet so desperate to succeed. I thought I'd drop by and poke some fun at him, and that's why my luck ran out.
Her choice of words highlighted how much of a disaster this had been for her. Shannon hesitated over whether it'd be safe to continue this discussion, but Beatrice continued on her own, ignoring Shannon.
After all, his contract did have a proper format and set of rules. Various proceedings were mixed up, but, well, in deference to his enthusiasm, I graciously accepted his contract. Then, I gave him a mountain of gold. And then the master used that gold and succeeded in business, and grew his wealth into what it is today. Indeed, his talent in magic was minimal, but it seems he had a knack for business and gambling.
Gambling, you say? Sorry, anyway.
What about gambling?
Nah, I got a gambler spirit, that's all.
Or perhaps it was due to the bravery and madness that led him to risk everything on unreasonable bets. Madness sometimes acts as magical power. I see. If you look at it that way, perhaps it isn't quite fair to say he was completely lacking in magical talent.
Shannon felt like she was daydreaming. While everyone in the Ushiromiya family knew the story of how Kinzo idolized black magic, summoned a witch, and received the gold in actuality, it was all rambling that no one believed in. And now, Shannon was having the story confirmed by the witch herself. She felt a little flustered by this incredible secret that only she knew.
Once Kinzo gained his vast fortune, he could realize every dream that can be satisfied by objects obtainable in the human world. And in the end, he searched for the truth of this world. The truth of this world? The single element that makes up the world. Kinzo, who had gained everything one can obtain in the human world, searched for that, the final desire humans seek.
The single element. She seemed to remember the witch using that word before. When Beatrice saw Shannon trying to remember what that was, she laughed bitterly, waving her hands and saying there was no need to worry.
I underestimated Kinzo just a tad. I truly didn't expect him to display such power. And thanks to that, I'm in this state. I've been sewn in place on this island for several decades now, without even a friend to drink tea with. No matter whom I try to talk to, my voice doesn't reach them, and no matter where I go, I cannot do anything. Such boring decades.
As she laughed in self-derision, she tapped her teacup with her finger. This is what makes me really think that she didn't do shit to help Shannon and George and is just manipulating Shannon. Because like she's saying all this like, oh, you're the first friend I've had in forever, I've been so alone. She goes on a fucking murder spree. like Shannon was one of the first of the six to die, get unalived. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to take anything she's saying as genuine.
Mm-hmm.
It made the light sound of pottery. Shannon didn't know whether the word self-derision was really an accurate expression to describe the look on the witch's face. Shannon didn't understand.
Did you skip a line?
Did I?
Yeah, up.
Oh, she tapped her teacup with her finger and made the light sound of pottery. Self-derision was inaccurate. Shannon didn't understand everything, but she could more or less figure out the situation. And it was probably a topic that she couldn't press the witch on easily, not unless the witch started talking about it herself. To sum up everything she had said up until now, Beatrice, who had been summoned by Kinzo's magic, could not leave this island for some reason, and she had lost her power and her form, living her days in boredom. During that time, her words had reached Shannon, who never forgot to show sincere respect for the witch. And Shannon had helped the witch regain her power, if only for a little bit. As a result, it was now possible for the witch to drink tea with Shannon like this.
Beatrice-sama, what in the world was that mirror you told me to break? Ah, that. Long ago, it seems various things happened on the islands around this area. Because of that, malignant forces gathered here and began to draw in an evil distortion. It seems a traveling Eastern magician or something built a shrine for the repose of souls and sealed them in there. That in itself has nothing to do with me, but unfortunately that magical power rested on a different foundation than mine. It created a strong interference with my magic and was extremely bothersome. Is that how it was? And I just assumed it existed only to seal you, Beatrice-sama. I was not its target, but it was a divine mirror. As a result, my power was sealed away. To use food as an example, maybe it would go something like this. Let's say the Western food I ordered is being made in the kitchen. However, when they try to set the table, the area for the guests eating is in the Japanese style with Japanese-style dishes. So the kitchen is unable to serve a plate that would be out of place. And no matter how long I wait, my Western food won't arrive. Something like that. So you destroyed that Japanese-style guest seating and returned it to a blank state for some time. Thanks to that, the meal I had ordered was finally delivered, and my power came back, you could say. However, so far, only the aperitif has arrived. It will still be quite some time before the main dish. As I am now, I'm even more fragile than a shoe store fairy. So amusing.
I love how you did that line reading. I love how you did that.
Nothing. I just thought your metaphor was pretty funny. I never would have thought to use a story about food as a metaphor for magic. And yet she did it before. I thought it rather a skillful comparison, but I certainly didn't expect it to be laughed at. I'm a bit offended.
A slightly sulky expression rose to the witch's face. It wasn't a strange expression at all to be appearing on the faces of some friends as they enjoyed their tea.
Although I may not look it, I was known for doing extremely brutal things in the past.
Shit, really? I never would have guessed!
Hey, that's last episode. Everyone's back, everyone's alive now. It's a different 1986.
It's a different 1980. Yeah, sorry.
I've gotten soft. Now I can even have a foolish discussion while drinking tea with a human.
She was... Sorry, I thought you were going to be talking for longer. She was probably talking to herself. As Beatrice gazed at the seabirds tracing the horizon, she put her tea to her lips again.
The clouds have come out. When the ocean loses its brilliance, it's nothing more than a gray puddle. You think so? I think the ocean is a beautiful deep blue, even when it gets cloudy.
She said the thing! Remember? Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah?
Yeah, anyway. Sorry. Maybe the witch noticed the deep meaning behind Shannon's words. She laughed lightly and set down her empty teacup.
It seems those things buried in your eyes aren't black pebbles anymore. How is it? Do you see how it feels for furniture to be reborn as a human? Yes. I never knew the world was this kind.
Since the start of her relationship with George, Shannon's face had grown brighter more often. Her smile had made everything go smoothly and had even changed her fortune. Shannon made less mistakes in her work than she had before, and the family members' opinion of her was slowly starting to change. Just the other day, she had been surprised when Kraus, who rarely exchanged words with her, had suddenly started talking to her.
You've been wearing a splendid smile more often lately, haven't you? Has something good happened? No, but but every day is fun. Wonderful. It goes without saying that coffee is more delicious when poured with a smile. Could I ask for that smile once more?
Weird thing to say, boss of this girl.
Yes, sir.
That had been a chance for Shannon to gain confidence in herself. Of course, it didn't go beyond her own heart, and it wasn't so big a change that anyone would notice. But she had begun to change, bit by bit. Shannon understood it clearly. Knowing love was the same as gaining a soul. The same as being reborn from furniture into a human. There was absolutely nothing mistaken in Beatrice's words. By knowing love, Shannon had learned what it was to be human.
These have been unusual snacks. It was time well spent. It's probably about time for you to return to your work. So let us end our tea party now. After all, it seems a certain person doesn't like seeing us drink tea together. Huh?
The witch gripped a teaspoon and flipped it with her fingers, sending it up in the air. After that, it was launched by the fingers of some invisible person and flew straight into a nearby bush. The bush shook violently, and Cannon came out. It seemed he had been there for some time, watching their tea party. The spoon was gripped in his hand. If he hadn't caught it in an instant, it might have hit him hard in the forehead and caused him to start oozing blood. But Cannon's fucking sick as hell and caught that shit.
Do not worry. Our tea party is over now, Canon. How long were you there? If you had called out to us, I'd have poured you some tea too. I imagine that you didn't want to interrupt a pair of women talking, right?
Cannon kept silent, but there seemed to be a slightly hostile look in his eyes. On the outside, he acted with respect. But unlike Shannon, Cannon did not trust the witch. When Beatrice hit the table with her pipe, the tea set turned into gold butterflies which flew upwards all at once. They then scattered in every direction, and the cleanup was already done.
It was fun, Shannon. Let us meet again if the chance arises. My magical power is still quite lacking. It's tiring even to show myself. If you're that tired, never appear again.
Oh, shit! Cannon had said it in a small voice, but the witch seemed to have heard it perfectly. She giggled, but did not reply.
Shannon, tell me more about George at our next tea party. There are no snacks sweeter than a person's love life. See you again.
Beatrice's body also became gold butterflies, which scattered in all directions and disappeared. It was a fantastical and beautiful scene, like a blizzard of gold leaf. For a while, Shannon quietly watched the witch's exits. We're actually going to end that there.
Yeah, agreed.
We quietly watched the witch's exits. System, save, exit. What the fuck? Sorry. Dial back. Alright. Thank you for... Sorry. I'm getting texts from group chats and they're all kind of worrying. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Umineko. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, I'd really appreciate it if you left a comment, liked, hit that bell, subscribe, all that normal engagement stuff. I'd really appreciate that.
Tell us what you think of our voices.
Yes, please tell us what you think of our voice performances. And I hope you have a good rest of your day, night, whatever. Goodbye.
Bye.